There we go. Well, good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee's Sunday morning live streaming service. Our center's purpose is love, and our new vision is embracing all, serving with love while awakening to the one. Whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, we know that all the paths end in oneness and in love on their way to God, the one place where we all come together as one. We're grateful that each of you is here with us this morning. And we begin our service with a receptivity statement that you'll see on your screen and repeat along with me while everyone is muted. I am here by divine appointment. Something I am about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. So our musicians this morning are Jared and Shauna Namaste. And in their duo, they call Love Eternal, they share their message of peace, love, and world community. Now our theme for the talk today is The Winds of Change. And Jared and Shauna have selected some songs for us that call for trust in God, to embrace the opportunities brought on by change. Right? So please help me welcome Love Eternal. And Michael, would you make me the co-host too, please?
Sure.
Thank
You want me to do that first?
Yes.
Okay.
In the participants list, where it's when you scroll over my name and it says.
Yeah, I did. I know.
Oh, okay.
I thought I just did. Okay.
Sharon? Oh, good.
Hello. This is a song called Not the End.
Michael,
What?
you need to stop sharing
Not the end for sure.
and start the video before you share.
Only changes form.
Okay, hold on.
Let I be reborn.
Oh, sure.
Michael is our substitute, and he is bravely daring the unknown. So you need to stop your share first.
Okay.
Okay.
Now what did I do wrong?
And now you start the video, and then you start sharing. Or pull up that screen with just that video.
Okay.
So if you clicked on that one screen, it's ready to play.
I did.
Now share screen. Perfect. Now hit play. Yeah. Right in the middle. Right in the middle, where
It's
the arrow
blocked.
is in the middle on the bottom. No, scroll over in the middle of your screen at the bottom. See, they go down.
I got it, but it's blocked by all you guys. I don't know why. All the gallery is at the bottom now.
Okay, so what you're going to do is take your put your pointer on the gallery and slide it over to the right. And it'll flip.
Okay, thank you. So,
Now hit in the middle. In the middle. Scroll over to your middle. Right in here. Can you see? Yes. Down. Okay. Now, not the play bar, but right below that. You see right above share screen?
yes.
Okay, there's an arrow. There's 10 left, 10 right, in the middle is the arrow. And click on that.
No.
I'll come.
Okay. So you've got, okay, over, up, let's see, which one do you have?
Didn't.
Yeah, okay, click that. No, there you go.
Hello. This is a song called Not the End. This is not the end for sure. Nothing gets destroyed, only changes form. Let I be reborn. This is not the end, not the end by far. Nothing gets destroyed, it only changes form. Let I be reborn. Let I be reborn. Learning how to see, learning how to be. Learning how to love myself so that I can be me. Learning how to see each other compassionately. Learning how to love so deeply that I myself am set free. 'Cause love is the power that heals, that heals. Yeah. You know that love is the power. Morning, noon, and night, repeat again, deeply that I myself am set free. 'Cause love is the power that heals, that heals. Don't you know that love is the power that heals, that heals. This is not the end, not the end by far. Love you so much. Aloha, blessings to you. And we hope you're feeling blessed, feeling good. If you enjoy our music, we have a website, loveeternal.org. You can also find us on Facebook, and then anywhere that you stream music, Spotify, iTunes. We have 7 or 8 albums out there, and we just want people to get to hear the music.
Yeah. Love eternal, eternally loves you.
Yep. Loveeternal.org. Aloha, aloha, aloha. Till next time.
So thank you, Jared and Shauna. Well, our practitioner today is Carol Dalbon. And Carol is one of those people who knows how to stay calm and peaceful in the midst of change happening around her. And since December, she's switched places with her granddaughter, who's moved into her house in Tahoe City, and Carol has moved down to Sacramento. So she's been busy with downsizing and finding a new yoga place and all those things you do when you move. But I'm also grateful that Carol has reorganized her life so she's able to be here on Mondays and some Tuesdays, so she can help out in the office while we're recruiting our new office administrator. So she helps keep me calm, and so I can do everything else that I do. So I'm very grateful to have Carol there on Mondays and this morning to be our practitioner of the day for our reading and the meditation. Welcome, Carol. You're muted, Carol.
I don't know why, but today it doesn't want to unmute me very easily. Sorry. It's good to see everyone. Knowing that there is this one presence, this one power. And as it was sung about love, always love, we have this presence within and without. And I see this every day. How can we help but see it? These gorgeous surroundings, how life expresses in many ways, in the greenery, in the flowers, and the last little bits of snow, and that little patch of green that we have been told about by Colleen, bringing that green light that I was talking about in meditation for wholeness. It's all about that connection with spirit, that wholeness, that oneness that we are all connected with. So I know that this Sunday we can appreciate that and be aware of it and be conscious of it as we listen to the Reverend Pam's talk and we listen to the Namaste's music and we have our connected time after the service. This awareness of spirit and all it does as we connect, as we give our intentions for our life, all love, all joy, all peace, and gratitude most of all. So I let these words go, knowing they are the truth of me and everyone here. And so it is. Today I'm reading from The Science of Successful Living, Raymond Charles Barker, which I found out was written in the 50s. So there's going to be a little bit of language that I'm going to have to change because it's all men in this. So I'll do my best to pick up on it. So he's talking about this new order, which is just the changes of time that he's talking about there in the 50s. One who is willing to constantly change, who is able to let go of the past and the present, to embrace the future, and who is flexible enough to realize that all things that now are will pass away and new things will appear in perfect order and in right sequence. The person who believes in the infinite mind and its eternal processes of unfoldment, forever creating, releasing, and recreating the universe. The man who can dare to be free in things and in personal relationships. The person who can say both yes and no with ease and without guilt. That is the person who is worthy of the new order at hand. No man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. Luke 9:62. The open mind, the changing consciousness, and the welcoming heart are the signs of the man who will live with joy in an ever progressively improving cosmos. The infant mind will act in this man, and the infinite love will maintain him in wholeness and contentment. His shifting environment will not confuse him, for more of heaven will appear with each change. Can you make the mental adjustments necessary to live in this larger order? If the minds of people could be spiritually stimulated to accept change as it comes and welcome the improvements that come with it, the heaven foretold of old would be reality. You are the starting point for the spiritual revolution to bring about a better world in an infinite cosmos of which you are a part. To date, the scientists have been unable to find people on other planets, so we can assume that present man is the probable only outlet of self-consciousness, the only means God has for consciously creating new and better conditions. Be liberal, progressive, and venturous, and the larger scene will unfold with greater good than you ever known before. Think of God in the grandest terms possible. Think of your own spiritual nature in equally large terms. Fasten your attention on your possibilities and how to attain them. Know that the infinite welcomes the person who can move forward, investigate the new, and release that which has served its purpose. This is the flexibility of the spirit. It is your flexibility now. And now we're going to hear from Shauna and Jared. Sorry, namaste.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Hello, hello.
Hope you're feeling blessed.
Yes. We are blessed to be with you.
I'm gonna play this first song for you today. It's called Faith in Jah. And Jah is another name for God, so we're also gonna use the faith in God. And it says, faith in God, anything is possible. I love life and miracles are probable. Faith in God, anything is possible. I love life, miracles are probable. Faith in God, anything is possible. I love life, miracles are probable. Every struggle, yes, it is just a test. Every hurdle, but you ready for the next. And a higher, sometimes they seem to go. But God is with me, this I know. So with the courage of the lion, I face a new day. When there is a struggle, I kneel down and I pray. God's light, come shine down on me. To love in your light is all that I see. Have faith in Jah, anything is possible. I love life, miracles are probable. Faith in God, anything is possible. you so much. We'll be back in a little bit.
Well, thank you, Jared and Shauna. You know that faith in Yah is the name of that song, and Yah is the Rastafarian short word for Jehovah, or God. And they're talking about that faith in God. Miracles are probable. Every hurdle gets you ready for the next, right? And so this month we're talking about stepping into the unknown. Kind of scary sometimes. And today we're seeing how the winds of change guide us to leave our present comfort zone and embrace new, higher possibilities. You know, I'm so grateful that Michael is willing to explore the higher possibilities of being a host. And you know, we don't always do it perfectly, but you know, he's got more heart than without him we wouldn't be here this morning. So we're very grateful, Michael. But change is inevitable, right? Every time we think we have things set up perfectly, it changes, right? Now, some change has a rhythm, like the seasons. In the spring, we wait until the snow melts and the nighttime temperatures stay above freezing before we plant those beautiful, colorful flowers in our garden, and we enjoy that beauty all spring and summer until that first frost heralds the coming of the winter. And then we pull out our warm coats, our hats and gloves, and along with our boots and skis and snowboards or whatever we like to use in the winter. And with each seasonal change, the winds shift and invite us to prepare for the future. Right? We might resist that change and find ourselves unprepared for the cold winter or for the warm summer days, but the seasons will continue to change whether we are ready or not. Now, some change is unpredictable, like a crisis when it hits, like an illness, accident, death of a loved one, or COVID pandemic that we've all been going through this year. We weren't prepared for that in any way, shape, or form, really. And so we might find ourselves thrust into a new situation. We may feel out of control until we get our bearings back, right? It's like starting over again in so many ways as we learn to navigate this unfamiliar territory and new relationships. We can choose to resist the accompanying changes and try to live life as we always have. And if we do, then we're most likely going to get buffeted to and fro by those winds of change, and disappointment and roadblocks will arise. But alternatively, we can welcome the opportunity to grow as we learn to thrive in that new environment. If we remember that there is no place where God is not, we can see that power and presence of Spirit everywhere if we just look for it. That spiritual truth that underlies everything that's going on. And so this inner knowing frees us to practice gratitude for every situation, person, thought, feeling, and emotion in our life. With open hearts and minds that are aligned with Spirit, any apparent blockages are cleared, and we can dance with the winds of change. Right? We're part of the oneness, just as the change is part of the oneness. Now, one of the ministers in preparing for the talk this week, her name is Reverend Natalie Beth Linguri. She lives in Geneva, Switzerland, and there's a lake, Leman, that is near Geneva. And it's kind of like Lake Tahoe. It's a really large lake. And in the summer, they have regattas there. There's about 70 different winds, and they're changing all the time. So there's some days when there's very little wind. And so these sailboats, in order to be able to maneuver across the lake in the race, the sailors scan that calm lake looking for little ripples of the wind. And so the skipper of each boat adjusts their sails and moves towards those ripples, that sign of disturbance, the wind that is blowing there. And then they can sail quickly towards their destination because they've locked into where the wind is vectored across the lake. Now, the winning skipper is the one that's the most successful at locating those disturbances and embracing the changing winds. Right? They can't just sit and be still because they're going to be still and go nowhere. Change is what takes us forward. Now, resisting change is all too common. When change happens, these upsets, they bring disorder to our lives. It's a natural human reaction to seek order, to get settled in our comfort zone, and to seek equilibrium by resisting disorder, right? But if we always stay in the same place, we will never evolve to our next yet to be. We will continue to muddle through and remain in that zone, comfort zone, good or bad, where we find ease and comfort. You might be fighting demons, but they're demons that we know, rather than perhaps angels that we don't know yet. Right? Moments of upset are also opportunities for change. If we become less resistant to change, we can embrace the opportunities and move in a different direction, propelled by that creative energy of divine life, which allows to get kicked in. Now, in the Ernest Holmes, in his book Living the Science of Mind, he says, instead of being confused by the situations around us, we should be calm, tranquil, and confident that by reforming our word, we can as easily change the existing conditions as perpetuate them. You see, where our thoughts go, where our expectation grows, is what builds that energy for that to manifest into our lives. When we listen to that inner voice of spirit, we can see then that we are limiting ourselves by sticking to our same old direction, oblivious to the higher possibilities. They're out there. They might be flashing us, these green lights, come, but we're sticking where we are. We ignore them and stay in our old comfort zone. Now, in my life, one of the biggest change that I ever made happened with the year that I was going to enter the 9th grade. We had been living in Baltimore, and I'd been living in the same house forever. And so my dad worked in aerospace, and he came home and he informed us that we were going to be moving to Denver. And we had a month before we were going to leave, and our whole lives were going to change. And my sister and I were not happy campers at all. My dad tried to help us adjust to this idea. And so when he had gone out to trips to Denver in the past, he always brought back gifts for us. So what he brought back was Indian dolls. So we thought it was still cowboys and Indians out in Denver, which we all know is not the truth, but that's what we thought. And then his friend that had already moved there lived in Evergreen. And so he gave us some slides that we could all look at it and see what it was going to look like. Now, Evergreen is up in the mountains, and it's a little bit like living in Tahoe. And so these photographs, there were two genres. There were the deep snow everywhere, and then there was the brown, and there was nothing else in between. Now, in Maryland, it's really lush and green and beautiful. It's hot and humid too, but it's a beautiful lush green. And we're going, we don't want to move there. We don't want all that snow. We don't want it brown. It just did not work. So, but we still had to pack so quickly and just throwing things everywhere. We'd lived in that house for, 10, 12 years by then, probably 12 years. So the movers packed so quickly that they even packed the trash in our trash cans. And it was in storage for a couple of months on the other end. So it was an interesting process to unpack. But it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me in my whole life. It changed the course of my life. If I'd stayed in Maryland, I probably would have been a bookworm, well, I was then, and become maybe a mathematician, something like that. Green eye shades, always indoors. It was hot and humid outside. We had air conditioning, so all of our friends wanted to come over and play at our house in the summer because we had air conditioning. But when we moved to Denver, it was dry, it was sunny, and we had the mountains. Oh, the mountains. I fell in love with the outdoors. My whole life, my world perspective changed entirely. And so I learned that I love hiking and camping, and I like to fish and go skiing. I like to be in open space and be able to see a long ways. Our house looked was 1,000 feet above Denver, and we used to look over at the lights at night, or at the planes landing at the airport, whatever, and the mountains were behind us. So it was wonderful. So a couple of years ago, when Michael and I were visiting the Center for Spiritual Living on some business, and I took him to see Mount Evans. Now, Mount Evans is the top of Mount Evans is about an hour and a half from the house that we lived in there, and also from the home office headquarters. And it happens to be the highest paved road in the United States. It's 14,130 feet, well above the tree line. And so Michael and I went there in our little rented car a few years ago. And we got out, all the way up, it's just so majestic and awesome. And just, the wind was blowing a little bit, and it was just fabulous. There's an old home that's kind of falling apart at the top. It's part of a park now. But it was just amazing. And he could see why I fell in love with the mountains in Denver. This is where my interest in water resources, engineering, environmental planning all came. And it's also where I found Science of Mind. If I had never moved to Denver, I would have never found Science of Mind and be on my current path as minister. The people in Denver also were more open to change. Most of them had moved there from someplace else. So I was in my new right place. My first instinct was to resist. I didn't know anything else. But this was a perfect move for me, right? Now, how do we adapt to change? Well, it's not one size fits all. There's no simple answer that I can tell you and you could immediately know how to adapt to change. But because we're responding to a disorder, we have to stop, adapt, and reorganize our life. Give up some things that we've cherished, perhaps, and welcome in some things that are kind of unknown and squishy, and they may or may not work, but we try it, we experiment, and we head off in a new direction. We have to risk being imperfect, right? Risk learning something new. It's like, remember when you were, you probably don't remember. You might remember videos of your own kids, but when you're like 14 years old and even younger than that, and you learn to stand up, and then you fall down, and eventually then you try and walk and you fall down. But you get up again, and it's like, oh, it's such a victory when you can stand up, and you waddle off, and then when you can run, oh yeah. And the parents are often running, and the world changes. But we didn't feel bad about falling down. We felt great about getting up, right? And that's what change is all about. When we get stuck, it can get awful. If we try and hang on by our fingertips, we're not going to go anywhere. That takes a lot of energy to resist that firmly, right? Creates a lot of drama. All that drama in our lives that sometimes we have these patterns that in relationships that we repeat them over and over again, or we always, we get ourselves financially off the ground and something else drops out. So we have this built-in expectation, this kind of homeostasis of what our comfort zone is. And if we get out of it, it pulls us back with that drama. We feel that just the comfort of being out of that comfort zone is so strong. But we have to learn to be comfortable in the unknown. Comfortable doing something different. But remember that God is with us everywhere, right? God is the impetus for the change in the first place. And so we learn to become detached from the specific outcome and focus on our goal. Wholeness, love, peace, and most importantly, oneness. Realizing that we are one with Spirit, with all that is. Whatever we're encountering is part of God too. So in Ernest Holmes, Living the Science of Mind again, he says, keeping the goal in mind, refusing to be baffled or defeated, with uplifted thought and calm but definite purpose, we cannot fail. Right? And so it's that calmness, that being centered in spirit that allows us to move forward with clarity and with grace. And we welcome those moments into our life, back to that place of acceptance. We surrender when those winds of change blow you in a new direction and make a choice to step into the unknown, what might look like chaos and disorder. But at the center of our being, we are calm and peaceful and one with Spirit. We open ourselves to release those blockages or step around them, whatever is needed, and make positive choices to create that world that works for you and for everyone. This is how that creative power of universe is engaged, and it will propel you forward on that new path. Right? You know, it's like when you've got your new path and you go this way or that way, but when you get lined up perfectly, it just moves so slowly, and there's nothing but green lights and synergies that just pull everything along. You're in harmony with all that is. There's a story that's told by Reverend Patricia Wagner, who's at the CSL, Ocala, Florida. She talks about living in heart-centered gratitude, and I know Nancy loves the word gratitude, and so does Reverend Patricia. She had a vision of a beautiful place that to her was clearly heaven on earth. It was lush and green and beautiful, and floating above that heaven on earth, there were two entrance doors to choose from. So the first door was marked Dark Night of the Soul. The second door was marked Gratitude. And so she knew that by going through either door, she would come to know the purpose of life, to realize our oneness with God. So she could consciously choose the path of gratitude, to recognize that God is the infinite source of everything in her life, whether it appears to be great or not so great, or moving her out of her comfort zone, or calling her to some place where she needs to feel vulnerable. The high vibration of gratitude would attract the positive emotions of love, joy, peace, and bliss. You know, happiness is an inside job along the way. Now, the other hand, though, if she didn't choose gratitude, that decision would really be an unconscious choice to learn about oneness through life circumstances, through the dark night of the soul. See, that second path breaks us open so we can surrender our ego and experience the power and the presence of God. Either way, we're going to experience that oneness. Right? And so living in heart-centered gratitude surely looks like an attractive path to create heaven on earth. As an example, the COVID pandemic has been a dark night of the soul experience for all of humanity. Our world had become so fractured, so divided, that we needed a common goal to pull us together. And to move past this pandemic, all of humanity has to come together and act to protect each other from the virus. Right? Now, initially, the only tools we had to stop the virus, once we figured it out, were to wear masks, practice social distancing, and wash our hands frequently, and shut down the economy. These were mechanical, physical ways of controlling the spread of the virus. Many people made the voluntary or involuntary sacrifice of not visiting with their family members so they wouldn't potentially expose a loved one to the virus. Now, that would be awful, to realize that you were the vector that infected your grandmother or your grandchild. Overwhelmed hospitals did not allow family members to visit loved ones, even when they were dying from COVID. We had to stop the spread. It was mushrooming out of control. And so we learned to wear masks to protect ourselves, but really those masks are even more effective, according to the scientists, at stopping the wearer, who may or may not know that they have the virus, from infecting other people when they are ill. Right? So shutting down the economy and requiring people to stay home except for essential businesses, it did slow the deaths from the virus. And unfortunately, those infections and deaths rose again when people went back out again, and especially when they didn't wear their face masks. Right? But now, thankfully, gratefully, we have the opportunity to get vaccinated to protect ourselves from the virus. You know, those of us who are vaccinated are getting excited about being able to visit our families again and go shopping, travel without fear of getting sick and dying. These are all important, but the real reason to get vaccinated, the most important one, is that we will protect our loved ones and friends. You know, heaven forbid, but if we were to become infected and not know it, or know it, and because we decided not to get vaccinated, and then we became the vector that allowed someone else to get infected and die, especially a loved one, right? I mean, that would be really hard to live with if we survived and they didn't, right? So it's just like wearing a mask. We're protecting other people even more than we're protecting ourselves, right? You know, the science says that we need to vaccinate 70 to 80% of our population and the world population, not just us, before we will reach herd immunity. And since children under 16 are currently not approved for the vaccination, and they are about 20% of our U.S. population, we were going to have to essentially vaccinate all of our adults to protect the children, right? Some people are reluctant to get vaccinated because we don't yet know everything about the long-term effects of the virus. It's normal, and it's okay to be fearful. That's normal. It's the unknown. All the steps that we take into the unknown are scary. So how do we make a decision then? We can go within and ask Spirit for guidance. What is the highest action we can take for ourselves and for all of humanity, since we are all one? So we have a choice. We can all choose to get vaccinated and thereby create herd immunity, trust those scientists, or we can all continue to wear our masks everywhere and continue to practice social distancing and frequent hand washing forever. And I think I'm going to choose the vaccine, but we each have to make our own choice. So even the people that do get vaccinated will have to keep their lives restricted until we reach that herd immunity, right? But whatever we do, it's clear we are all in this together. Together, humanity will go through our dark night of the soul until we all learn that we are one with God and with each other. We are called to work together to get all Americans and all world citizens vaccinated, as well as people throughout the world, right? Perhaps by learning to help each other survive the pandemic, the people and the nations of the world will also learn how to work with each other on all the other myriad issues that we deal with, and they will learn to create heaven on earth. So we're called to deepen our spiritual practices of gratitude and welcoming everything in our lives. This means seeing blockages and disappointments as opportunities, not threats, and gratefully accepting them with an open heart. What is Spirit trying to teach us? Right? And so we surrender to change as a part of life. Change is the normal process. It evolves from order to disorder to reordering our lives, and then order again for the moment, because it'll go into disorder again. But this is how we work with Spirit, and we're propelled forward into that divine vision for our life, the divine intention. And so the spiritual practice of welcoming, of gratitude, opens that way to embrace change with openness, with curiosity, and with renewed commitment to that vision of your life, rather than hanging on to the present circumstances outside you as the end goal. Welcoming everything that comes into your life opens the way to make choices that are aligned with co-creating that divine vision of oneness. Now, when we are trying to discern what path to follow, what is the divinely guided path through the unknown? The best way to do so is through meditation or contemplative prayer. In 1975, Father Thomas Keating, an American Catholic monk with the Trappist order, was one of a group of 3 people who developed a method of prayer, of contemplative prayer, called the centering prayer. It was kind of a fad that went there, and it's still being practiced today. In the centering prayer, as in all meditation, we surrender the ego's desire to control our lives to the wisdom of Spirit. Richard Rohr has written a lot about the welcoming prayer, and he said, generally, we must be taken to happiness. We cannot find our way there by willpower or cleverness, yet we all try, usually heading in the wrong direction. It seems that it's difficult for our ego to see through the unknown to the places we have never been before. Right? Our ego can make up all kinds of scary stories why we shouldn't move forward. And so, Rohr also says, we seem insistent on not recognizing this universal path of growth and change. It seems that each of us has to learn on our own what is well hidden, but also in plain sight. Right? When we listen with an open heart of gratitude, when we see with God's eyes, then we see that spiritual truth of the situation that's hidden to our ego. We can only see that with the eyes of God. We surrender the desires of our ego and welcome the opportunities of change and spiritual growth in everything in our life. Listening, being, is not about acquiring or doing, but it's about those moments of feeling fully alive and close to spirit. So the welcoming practice is a spiritual practice that was developed by Father Keating based on the method of centering prayer. And Rohr writes about it saying, I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. It is in these moments that we are broken open and can release blockages in our lives. Otherwise, we hold onto them with resistance. So I'd like to share with you a version that was written by Mary Mrozowski and adapted by Father Keating. So enjoy this video. Michael, would you like me to try and share it?
Hold on.
Okay.
No, I've had to unmute, right?
Yes.
No, I had it. Hold on.
And then share your screen.
Yeah.
It's worth waiting for. And so, in this stillness, in this awareness of the presence and power of God, the one life, the one creator that created all that is, I realize that I too am a part of that one life. And as I let go of my small self that has held on to the belief that I am separate from the one, that I must do whatever needs to be done, my conscious awareness opens to the spiritual truth that I am one with Spirit, that I move in harmony with all the universe. I am in the flow of life. My higher self chooses to be grateful for everything in my life. I realize that the purpose of every experience, every relationship, every moment is to become consciously aware of my oneness with God. I release any resistance and choose the path of gratitude. I stay centered in divine peace and love and wholeness as I navigate my way through life. My life is filled with goodness and light wherever I go. And I allow that light to shine forth, to light the way for everyone I meet, everyone I love. I embrace change and all the wonderful new opportunities that beckon me to rise to a higher level of awareness and being as all of humankind rises together. I give thanks and praise for the divine blessings that fill my life. And as I release this prayer to the universal mind, I know that the shift has already occurred. All is well. All is one. And together we say, and so it is. And so we have one more song from Love Eternal called Yah Will Lead. We're ready for our last song.
All right, we're back. And in the spirit of faith, we're going to bring this song called Jah Will Lead, or Love Will Lead.
Jah will lead, I will follow. The Most High will lead, I will follow. Jah will lead, I will follow. And I plant the seeds. I believe in tomorrow as I live today. I live today. I live today. I live today with God's hand upon me. No trial too grand. Angels walk with me. Mountains to shift. Sand live today. I live today. I live today. I live today. Oh, Jah will lead. I will follow. The Most High will lead. I will follow. And I trust Jah. I know Jah know what's best for me, and I love God. There can be no greater clarity, so I step forth into my highest yet to be. Whoa, I am, and I trust Jah. I know Jah know what's best for me, and I love God. There can be no greater clarity, so I step forth into my highest yet to be. Whoa, I am. Whoa, whoa, I am. Whoa, whoa, I so much. We love you, and we will see you again soon.
Thanks for having us.
So grateful for the wonderful music this morning. And so we're running over, so I'm going to kind of go quickly through some of the other things this morning. But if you would bring up our prosperity affirmation. If you would all read along with me while you're muted. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. All I share with life returns to me blessed and multiplied. Next slide. And so we thank you for your gift. There's many ways to donate, and all of you have successfully learned to navigate the sending us a check, or having your bank send a check, or using PayPal and your credit card or debit card. So we're grateful for all of your gifts and that are shared of your time, talent, and treasure. And
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
You're on mute, Pam.
And so, in our gratitude for all of these gifts that are so generously and lovingly given, we are grateful. We know that it is the law of circulation coming from the one infinite source through each one of us and all of our activity to bless the center and to bless our lives and everyone in the world as it ripples out. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. And so it is. Amen. And so we welcome each one of you here, and any new visitors that might be visiting us online. We're grateful to have you here. Please go to our website and you can sign up for our weekly newsletter that will keep you abreast of everything that's happening. We encourage you to invite your family and friends to watch our Sunday talks on Zoom, or you can watch the recordings after the fact on our Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee YouTube channel. And we're having right now, the centers are working at promoting each other's YouTube channels. If we get up to 100 subscribers, we get some magical new bells and whistles that we can do with helping us market our center and getting our message out into the world. So I encourage you to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. So I think we've gotten up to 30, so we've got other ways to go. Now next Sunday I will be back as speaking on blessitation. Our musician will be Rod Loomis, and the practitioner will be Rick Kearney. Next, there we go. And Wednesday night this week, Reverend Rick will be back from his vacation. It will be the second in his series on aging as a spiritual practice, based on that book by Lewis Richmond. He's exploring the spiritual changes associated with aging and going to share some fun, easy spiritual exercises for seniors that to have more meaningful lives, or if you're preparing for that second half of life, whenever that begins, right? And so you maintain our physical and mental well-being, and what about our spiritual well-being? It all goes together to make life fun and worth living and full of wonderful gifts that are there for us, going with that flow, with the change. And also reserve the date May 30th. we're going to have a spirituality and nature workshop. Reverend Victoria Bomberry will be coming to speak. She's one of my classmates that graduated with me. Reverend Victoria, she's highlighted in one of the articles in the Science of Mind magazine this month, and she's also a descendant of 4 Native nations and an elder with the Muskogee Creek Nation. When she talks about spirituality and nature, that's her focus ministry. She lights up the room, and it's just amazing. So we're going to celebrate with an outdoor workshop that day, with social distancing, of course, and we might even be able to have something in the hybrid service that'll maybe we'll welcome a few people back into the into our sanctuary, depending on what's going on. And so, anyway, save that date. You'll definitely want to participate. We also, our class survey is still out there online, and so if you haven't responded yet, please share your voice about what you'd like to see us doing for classes, and also for the midweek service, what kind of things you would like to talk about. And then also we have all of our events that are going on. Besides the Sunday celebration, we have a meditation on Monday, Tuesday mornings on Zoom, led by the practitioners. Wednesday night gathering on Thursday afternoons. Chris Worcester leads Tai Chi online, and then starting at 4:30, there is an energization and then a meditation that's led by Mary McEnany and Penny. And then on Friday nights, this week it's going to be Letting Go by David Hawkins. There's quite a few people that loyally come Friday because they love having that deep dive into thinking about what all of these words really mean and sharing in a great conversation. And also, one last special announcement is we're recruiting a replacement for our office administrator. So if you know someone that might be interested in this part-time position, please have them contact me. I'd be glad to send out the job description. And Mariah Hartley, she started her dream job in Reno at the Discovery Museum. So we're happy for her, but we need a new administrator. So we know that the perfect one is on their way to us. And last but not least, I want to introduce our practitioners that are here with us today. So Carol Delbon was our practitioner of the day. Nancy O'Neill is here, Shirley Clark, and I think Sue Ruda was here for a while, our snowbird practitioner, and Michael is our practitioner in training. So if you need prayer, call one of them. They would love to pray with you, because we know that prayer works. It lifts up not only you, but them and all the world. So we're going to have our closing song. Before that, we have our affirmation. And here we go. If you would read along with me. Calm and centered in spirit, I embrace change and higher possibilities. And Michael, let's just do the first two verses of the peace song.
Okay.
Here we go.
And let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begin with me. Let this be the moments now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous